Hey y'all, welcome in. Welcome in. If you're new or just passing through to my channel, welcome. My name is Tam. I'm also known as the Enlightened Auntie. If you're returning, welcome back, squad. I'm here today to do another general collective reading. We're not sign specific here. We're also gender fluid. I may say you when I'm talking to them. May say them. I'm talking to you. Put yourself in the story wherever you seem to fit. Remember that time and energy are fluid. So I could be talking about the recent past, the present, or the future. Take only the parts that resonate. Leave everything else behind. If you'd like to book a personal more line with your own story, all of my information can be found below in the description box. My books are always open. I invite you to join me for a session. If you are relatively new here, I would like to caution my readings tend to reach into the future just a little bit. If you go into my archives, maybe 6 to 8 months, you may be able to find some titles back there that resonate more for you now in the present. I invite you to dig all through my archives. And for those of you who are in the archives, I see you. Thank you for supporting my work, and thank you for supporting each other in the comments. All right, y'all, let's get into it and see what Spirit wants to talk about now. What do you want me to talk about now with the collective spirit? Now, this is interesting. This kind of looks like somebody making a hasty decision. It's like making a hasty decision that ends up resulting in like some kind of shit. Ends up resulting in some kind of a loss, a painful loss. Yeah, so somebody here made a decision, but the decision came with a sacrifice, okay? I think they thought that the decision that they were making was going to result in some type of abundance, or at least like the good life is what I heard. Like, so they made a decision thinking that they were just going to live a good life. It's funny because it's a little bit feels like the last reading. It feels like the last reading. Because what the result is, it's still not giving them what they wanted. They didn't, so it's kind of like you didn't plant any seeds, so you can't, if you didn't plant seeds, water them, tend to them, then you don't get the benefit of the harvest. Okay, because that's kind of what this looks like. Somebody thought they were doing something, but it's this is really weird. So they sacrifice. It feels like the sacrifice was they made the wrong choice. They sacrificed, like if they had to choose between, you know, you and something or someone else, they chose the other thing, thinking that they were doing the right thing. They may have turned their back on you, but the end result literally isn't. It's not giving what they thought, so they're not happy. It's like self-inflicted pain. Huh. Self-inflicted pain. Okay. And so they were unsuccessful at pulling off whatever this is. They were unsuccessful. They were unsuccessful at pulling off whatever this is. I kind of feel like the decision that they made, they did it. It's kind of like they did it with a lot of confidence, because they thought that they would be gaining something, abundance. This almost feels like if they did actually gain something, they may have to release it. They may have to release it. And potentially they're trying to hide whatever the stupid decision is that they made. And if there were other people involved, it's kind of like the blind leading the blind. So it feels very much like they made this decision. They're a little bit worried about what life is going to look like once they release whatever the gains were. And they're trying to hide it because they don't want anybody else to know. They don't want anybody else to know what they did. Like outside of the people that they may have worked with, they don't want anybody else to know what they did. Okay, now I just channeled something really interesting. And I don't think I've ever heard this before. I heard this person, like, I heard they worship the devil, but that wasn't what I was thinking when I was looking at the imagery. It feels like it's somebody here who they focus on things that are like really superficial that don't have anything to do with anything. And they were going after that. Probably money. Probably money. So it does feel like a little bit like the blind leading the blind, because everybody who's involved, everybody who agreed to this, everybody who worked with this person, they're all suffering the same consequence. Uh-huh. Interesting. Especially if they'd stolen some money. Uh-huh. And these people, okay. Because what this looks like, it looks like if they were following somebody, they were following this woman. There's a feminine energy. They may have been following this woman because I don't know, like they all felt like, well, partially there's some lies here. So she may have been gassing folks up, telling them that she knew the way, I got this bright idea. Let's do this. Right. But it is rooted around some resources that they tried to hide. It's like there's theft here, or there's some type of, I heard, misappropriation of funds. So there are some resources here that they've been trying to either hide, they're holding on to. I'm trying to see where the clarity is around this, because it feels like they acquired these resources in order for them to be in a place of stability. It may have even afforded them like a life that they weren't previously living. Interesting. Now I see it in two different places where they may, the reason, it feels more like the motive, like the reasoning behind the money, holding of the money, withholding of the money, or stealing of the money. One, it was for them to be in a stable place, because they were worried about here's the worry. They were worried about having to start over. And I'm not even using the Kipper, but it sounds literally like that story that comes straight out of the Kipper. I also feel like whoever this person is, they knew what they were doing, so they knew better. They just chose not to do better. Especially if you walked away from them, whatever the nature of the relationship is. whoever this person is, they may have misguided a bunch of people. Now they're worried because I feel like somebody here realized the missteps that they made, that they acted in haste. They thought that they could accomplish something, and they really lost control of everything that they were trying to do. I want to say the biggest reason why they lost control was because they weren't committed to whatever it was they were trying to pursue in the first place. Okay, I'm using a whole different deck and I'm using a different spread, but this is very similar to the last reading that I did, where we talked about somebody making some, group think, a group of people got together to accomplish a common goal, but whatever they did, it didn't really give them the results they were looking for. Part of the obstacle here may have been, remember I said it did look like maybe the theft of intellectual property, right? Part of their blockage and obstacle is that they had a whole lot of confidence in the fact that they could accomplish doing whatever they were doing, but you may have walked away from this situation. Like, you may have removed yourself or you pivot in a different direction. So the way I heard it is you may have abandoned something. Follow me. You may have abandoned something that you were doing. Say you were working, say if you're a creative and you were working on something and maybe things weren't quite lining up the way you wanted them to because you had other people in the background kind of, playing in your energy or whatever, right? So you pivot, because to me, it looks like a pivot, like, and that's part of the reason why they can't necessarily like see what you're doing, or they don't know what you're doing, because you pivot into a different direction. You just said, okay, well, maybe I can't accomplish it this way, but let me go down this way. And you did it so silently and on your own and quietly, like they never had an idea that, you could think a little bit outside of the box. So part of their blockage here is the fact that you moved away from the original idea. And now, because you are no longer doing whatever it was you were doing before that they were kind of siphoning off of, they can't do it. And if they did happen to obtain some resources or money off of whatever this is that has your energy signature or not, because I feel like the main goal for them was to just, they thought they were going to get rich. They thought they were going to get rich, and what they're being shown now is that ain't it. And you got away from them. Oh, now that I'm looking at the imagery, you got away. And they can also see here too that you got away, so that since you've been gone, it's almost funny because the energy that I'm picking up, it's almost like somebody here had this inflated sense of worth, right? Thinking that they could do whatever I've said this months ago. There was a reading I did months ago where I was like, they thought that they could do the collective, whatever the collective does, whatever you do. They thought they could do it better than you. But when you removed yourself, or you stopped focusing on that area and decided to pivot and focus on something else, and then you did it quietly, so they don't know what you're working on. They have no idea. And this has been coming up a lot in the collective readings. They don't even know what you're working on. They have no idea. They don't know how to attack it because they can't see what you're doing. But they're definitely recognizing here that with your absence, they no longer have the thing that was their driving force. They were piggybacking off of something that you were doing. They don't have that anymore because you've removed yourself. You removed yourself and you pivot. So it almost feels like, remember when I said in the last reading, it's like somebody just keeps running themselves headfirst into a brick wall over and over again. This is almost like somebody needing to like really reflect on, I heard, who has the power. And I think what they need to recognize is that they took this misstep and they just acted without thinking. I can do it. I have all this confidence. It's so weird. So I wish I could describe this feeling better, but it just feels like like a very, like this inflated ego, this inflated sense of, I can do it. I know what I'm doing, and they don't really know what they're doing, and they're being shown that they don't really know what they're doing. And they're seeing they should have made you an ally instead of a foe. They should have made you an ally. Yeah. So this very well could be your family or have something to do with a family. Could have something to do with their family. And I feel like the advice, because remember I said this person should have chose to deal with the collective. They made a wrong choice. They went against you, not realizing that you got the juice. You got the juice. You are the gift. But they chose wrong. And then and the reason why I'm feeling like this is family, this also could be somebody here who, like, they come across as like some type of deeply religious person, spouting Bible scriptures and whatnot. They spout Bible scriptures and whatnot. They do know better than what they do. But I also get the impression that this person is dealing with a very antiquated set of like an antiquated set of rules. That's why it's giving me like family, like a parental figure, grandparent, like somebody who's old. I don't consider myself old, so I'm 53, but I don't consider myself old. I'm not in that group. But this almost feels like somebody who, they're dealing with an old playbook. This is how I used to do it. This is how it has always been done. I've always done it like this, but not realizing that this person, like you, oh God, I wish I could describe this better. There's a lot. I'm channeling a bunch of information. I'm trying to like sort it all out in my head before I blurt that out in my mouth. But it kind of feels like this person is kind of having to learn. They're having to learn a very big lesson here about the choices that they make and the actions that they take, especially if they were against you. So now what they're learning, I also see, because I get a component here of like, for you collective, where you're if you've chosen to say turn your back on, family dynamic, and you're choosing to create, family outside of the one you came from, this person is now seeing that you actually, like, the people that you've surrounded yourself with, these people actually have love for you. I do feel like the people that you surround yourself with, they see you very, very clearly. I have the energy here too, like somebody here should have taken the time. I heard before demonizing you, they should have taken the time to really get to know who you are, especially your connection to the divine. There's a lot here, because I do feel like you got people here talking shit about you, So you go on a different path or whatever that's different than, you know, say what the traditional way is, you know, church and all that stuff. So you're more spiritual than maybe religious. Well, you've got somebody here in your family who is, you know, they parade themselves around as being, you know, highly religious, instead of being open to or seeing, because I feel like they're being shown a different way. You broke away from the system because the system didn't work for you. And what this person is being shown is, you know better. Number one, you know better. So all this shit you was doing over here, you knew better when you did it. You knew better when you did it. So when this person made a decision to turn their back on you, and then, you know, get connected with everybody else and decide they wanted to like withhold something that belonged to you, thought they were getting away with it. Thought they were getting away with it. Now they're scared because they may have to start over because they're receiving judgment right now. So this person may have lied. They may have been dishonest. Yeah, and look, voice and deceit. They may have been dishonest. And that's coming to light. This gives me the energy of a cycle, something that's been going on for a long time, and somebody resisting. Okay, so remember I said over here, like, this could be like an old head. It's giving me like, you know, an elderly person. No shade to any of my older followers and subscribers. No shade, no shame. But this looks like somebody who literally is old enough to know better, and instead of changing or learning how to adapt to something different, this person kind of keeps themselves in a loop cycle because they are resisting the evolution or resisting the change. Yeah, I said they don't want nobody to know. Oh, and they don't want anybody to know that they're not healed, or they're afraid to heal. They're still holding on to something. Because I said over here, it's like it's like wanting to reap the rewards and benefits of a gain, but this person ain't planting those seeds, so they're not due to receive the harvest. Does that make sense? They're not entitled to it. They're not entitled to it. Yeah, they're trying to hide something. Wealth. Look, the moon, the wealth. They're trying to hide it, and they don't want to let this go. But it's a failure. There's a failure. Something about this money or the resources and travel. Like maybe that was the goal initially. I'm going to get all this money and I'm going to go travel the world. But they didn't know. So it's kind of like, I don't know. This feels like somebody who felt like they were untouchable. Like they could just get, like, because this literally feels like somebody who thought they could get away with just about anything. They didn't realize that they were like stacking up karma. Because, you know, I've been talking about it. Saturn's a long ass game. So over time, they just been doing all these things, right? And it's stacking up against them. That's a weird kind of ignorance. Oh, yes, they wanted. Okay, so this, I did say it has something to do with I have large sums of money out here, but what they were doing is they're trying to hide it, and it's not money that they worked for. With labor in the reverse, it's not money that they worked for. So they may have been lying about that. So they may have involved themselves. They may have involved themselves. Now I don't even have it. I don't even have the kipper out here. But they may have involved themselves in a relationship dynamic, because this literally could be somebody's husband. They may have gotten themselves involved in a relationship, in a toxic relationship, with lies, in order to obtain this money, this wealth, and not have to work for it. Like I said, I don't have the kipper out here, but this is very reminiscent of a kipper story. And now they're scared of having to start over, because they may be getting ready to lose all of this. Yeah, they thought it was going to be permanent. Permanent is in reverse. So this situation, or maybe they thought their connection to this masculine energy might be temporary, because it's a man. They're worried about having to start over. Oh, that's what it is. They're worried about having to release what doesn't belong to them. I'm telling you, I'm not using the kipper, but this is a whole kipper story. They're worried about having to let go of this money. It's tangible. It's something tangible. If it's not money, I don't know what it is, but it's something tangible. They're worried about releasing it, having to release it, because they thought that this, whatever they had acquired, they thought it would be, that would sustain them in secret. Because this is in secret. This is in secret. This is how they acquired their stability. They didn't want anybody to know how they acquired their stability. Now they got to release it. So they thought they could pull this shit off, but now they're losing control of the entire situation. They out here with no protection. This is somebody that you, whatever the relationship is between you and this person, the relationship is basically, oh, maybe this isn't your relationship. Okay, so remember when I said, like, if they got with somebody to acquire the money that they didn't have to work for, okay, they don't have any protection, because I feel like ceremony, they may have married. Okay, so maybe this person got into a relationship in order to acquire some type of wealth, resources, right? So there may have been an ending to the relationship. Somebody may have passed away. But again, I have over here, this person isn't healed. They may still be asleep, and they're out here with no protection for whatever it is that they've done. Yeah, something is getting ready to be illuminated. Whatever they've done in your absence is getting ready to be illuminated. Illuminate came out sideways, so I kind of feel like it's whatever has been hidden, it's slowly coming out. This person may have also been a shapeshifter. It's like somebody here who's run out of bright ideas to kind of maintain the cover. Because the thing about it is, when you tell a lie, you got to keep telling lies in order to keep covering a lie. But then you tell so many lies, you can't even keep up with the first lies that you told. So I kind of think people are starting to see it. Ooh, no, I'm not taking all those. Oh, damn. What did I say here? I said the lesson is they should have chosen the, not only should they have chosen the collective, they should have chosen to get to know you, or to learn more about who you are. And especially if you've awakened and you've kind of, I mean, I know I've changed a lot in the last, 5-6 years. I've changed a lot. I've changed a lot. I feel like instead of this person, whoever we're talking about, instead of them taking the time to kind of get to know who you are, to get to know how, just to learn about the evolution of you, because this person is really rooted in who they are. They don't want to change. They like who they are. They like the way that they do things. They don't want to do things any differently. Okay. But what they're recognizing, I feel like they're recognizing that part of their lesson is like, they don't understand how people evolve. People change. You have a whole new life. They could have had a whole new life if they were willing to open up their mind and expand a little bit. But they don't want to. And that's what they were supposed to. I feel like what was supposed to happen is if they had chosen you, collective, it would have, if they had made their choice to choose you, they would have been able to expand their life in a way that they would have never expected. They would have received the expansion simply just by connecting with you or staying connected with you in a positive way. But that's not what they chose. They chose to go against you and turn their back on you. They made that choice. And that choice ended up hurting them in the end. They don't want to change. This person does not want to change. It's kind of like, it's funny because my husband says it all the time. Like, we got more years behind us than we have ahead of us. And this person has more time behind them than ahead of them. And they just refuse to change. They don't want to. They're running out of time. They're running out of time even trying to reconcile or get right with you because they're so rooted in the way that they do things. I don't want to change. This is who I am. They use that "this is who I am" as an excuse to absolve them of any kind of wrongdoing. Like, they don't even want to acknowledge. It's kind of like somebody who doesn't want to acknowledge that they're fucked up because they're just, this is who I am and accept me how I am. No, nobody has to do that. And so now they're mad because the people that they may have had. Now, it's interesting because the way that the cards are laid out, I have two very different energies. Like, yes, I have a group of people that may have got, they may have come together to work against you or whatever. But then I also have this group of people over here where it's like, if they had really taken the time to pay attention to you and what you were doing and how you evolved, your growth, your healing, all of that, they could have actually learned something from you. They could have learned something from you. But now it's too late. I do feel like this person here is also trying to, it's like outrun death. They were running out of time. And I feel like collective, you're already like in a really good, healthy space. You're happy. I'm talking to the people who are happy. I'm not talking to those people who are in the, whoever's watching, you know, I'm sorry if you're going through tough times. This is not your reading. I'm talking to people who are doing really good, who have been doing better since they walked away from maybe your family. But you definitely got somebody here. Their downfall is the fact that they don't want to change. They refuse. Give me one more card, please. Oh, no more. Okay. Doesn't want to give me bottom of the deck, persevere. It's kind of like they are death. The way that this translates to me, it looks like somebody who is set in their ways. They don't want to change. They're trying to continue, again, ramming their head into the brick wall, thinking that they're going to get a different result, and they're just bloodying up their forehead with a big gash because they keep running headfirst like a damn ram into this wall, thinking that it's going to accomplish something, and it's not doing anything but hurting them. They should have made a different choice. The choice that they should have made should have been you. I don't even want to know what that was. So somebody here may have to work in the near future. Yep. Okay, so I've switched cards. I'm using the Kipper now. So this looks like, okay, I said there was a cycle here. They've been keeping up because they've been resisting some type of change. But something had been something ended. So your relationship ended with them. You decided maybe I'm not moving forward with you anymore. But then on this end, I have somebody here whose pathway may be blocked or obstructed, or your path to this unexpected income had been obstructed at somebody else's hands. Remember, what did I say? I said it before these cards even came out. I said it. I was like, this is somebody here who they got with somebody. They got into this connection with a wealthy man. The secret is they did it for the wealth. They're trying to hold on to what they perceive as the wealth, the home. They're trying to hold on to it, and they have to let it go. They have to release it. Yeah, the home, a family home. This may have even been a home that you lived in at one point. This man passed away, made her a privileged woman. Okay. Because here's the money that she may have stolen. Like you walked away from a relationship or whatever, but there's money stolen here. They're worried about imprisonment. Yeah, I said here they may have to work in the near future, and they don't anticipate having to work. But that may be necessary, especially if they're trying to keep their hands on this property. Look, poverty. So this kind of looks like they may have got, remember I said they got with this man. They got with this man for the purpose of acquiring Some type of stability, wealth. But it was a superficial relationship. Toxic even. But I believe she got, yes, she got involved in this relationship because she did not want to be poor. But she also didn't want to work for it either. Child, the thief card is out here. They don't want people to know that they've been a whole thief this whole time. Child, they may have to move. They also may have done something illegal. There's something here done in the courthouse. It's kind of like they should have just made their better choices. That's really what it is. This person does not want to change. I said they don't want to change. There's something that they need to give you, though. There's a message that they need to give you. Go more. Did any of them flip? Oh. Damn. So part of their advice is they have to tell, I don't know how that's going to happen, but they got to tell you. They need to tell you or to communicate with you what they've done against you. That's what they should do. Not saying that's what they're going to do, but that's what they should do. You know, a lot of times folks ain't going to do what they're supposed to do. They do what they want to do. But they should tell you. And if there's a message that's meant for you, they should give it to you. Okay, I'm not even gonna pull any more of these cards because I kind of feel it's like each layer that I give, it tells me the same thing. It's kind of like the plan failed. Whatever the goal was, whatever they were attempting to do, they thought that the decision that they were making was going to lead them to abundance that they wouldn't actually have to work for, because all this boils down to is somebody wanting to acquire some sense of wealth or prosperity or stability on the back of someone else. They made a choice to do something, to lie. They enacted a plan to lie, but the plan did not work. And it's I feel like all of this is meant to break somebody down into their dark night of the soul. This person is resisting, and I've been saying it. If you resist dark night of the soul, it is so much more worse. So much more worse. I would not recommend doing that to yourself. I wouldn't recommend. Like, not at all. Let's get some What's the Tea cards. I barely use these. I have a new deck coming, I think, on Friday. I'm excited about that one. I don't need no more decks, but I saw a reader using this one deck, and I looked up on Etsy. I'm like, what are the popular decks right now? And saw a bunch of really cool ones. And I was like, all right, we're just going to get one, because when I buy decks, I tend to buy a bunch of them all at the same time. So I got one deck. I think the deck came with like 100 and some cards. I think that's enough cards. I was like, okay, I'll have fun with that until I'm no longer having fun with it, and then I'll get another one. All right. Tell me what the tea is. So somebody here may be carless, or they wanted you carless. They have no car. They have car issues. I also feel like there's someone here that may be dealing with a secret lover, or have some type of secret romance, a side piece. I don't know who this is. Somebody here could have been a side piece, or they have a side piece. Your light irritates their demons. They're a groupie. They're clout hungry. They say anything or do anything to make shit up, to be dramatic. Same shit, different day. Meanwhile, you are unbothered. You may be ignoring this person. You've moved on. You're not even thinking about them. This person may be facing some legal issues in the near future. And it's funny because I feel like you do have people that are kind of, like I said, I had two different groups. I have a group of people that were in on whatever this shit was, the groupies. And then I've got people over here that are actually kind of like, it's kind of like if you got somebody talking shit about you, after a while, folks are going to be like, you know what? Let me find out for myself. Right? So you may have folks that are like looking you up on their own just so that they can see what this person is actually talking about. And they're discovering that you're not the person that, this gnarly person has been describing. Like, that's not who you are. They're crying over you, sad, hurt, and upset. They're dealing with scarcity, like poverty consciousness. They're reflecting over being poor. They don't want to be poor, but they're wasting time stuck in this cycle. They just want what they want, but they don't want to evolve or grow or learn or heal or none of that. You're too busy winning. They're out here trying to cock block you, and you're too busy winning on your boss shit. Yes, while they're suffering from bad karma because they're played out, them and their karmic ass friends. And then you have somebody here who may have caught a case. So you got people here that have you kind of like and I've said it, they have you in like this secret one-sided competition. You ain't even paying attention to them. So they're just over here spinning their wheels trying to figure out how do we come up against the collective. Meanwhile, the collective is busy focusing on their own shit the way you should be. Right? Yeah. The way you should be. All right. I'm going to end this with a Chinese 5 elements. I'm not going to do the truth cards. I'm not going to do the index cards. I'm going to grab one of these. Oh, but you know what? I'm going to grab my Auntie on deck card. I actually haven't used that deck in a while. I was telling a client yesterday that when we went through COVID, at one point I was like definitely overworking myself. I probably had like 7 or 8 clients per day, and it was burning me out. Like I burned out pretty quickly after doing that for a while, but I was doing that for a good while. And then when we shut down for COVID and I wasn't able to teach my paint classes, I had to figure out another creative outlet. So I created like 3 oracle decks. Well, technically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 oracle decks and a tarot deck. But I don't sell them on my website anymore because I didn't really care for the upfront costs and all that. I wasn't into it. I'm like, I'll republish them and I'm going to get a different manufacturer and all that stuff. But for the time being, I'm not going to sell these anymore. And I do have a couple of other decks that I created. I just never got them printed. I just held on to them because I decided, you know what? I'm going to give it a break right now. But I got to find a manufacturer that's going to work with me the way that I need it done. All right, we have stop worrying. Your material needs will be met. Be grateful for what you already have. It's now or never. Speak your truth. Believe that you're worthy. Be open to receive. Analyze the matter. Mind over heart decisions. What do you want? Set intentions. Cut cords. Detach or take a spiritual bath. Clear your energy. There may be some father healing that's necessary. Someone is suffering silently. There's no extra points for being a martyr. Who are you doing it for and why? Shadow work. Somebody does need to learn how to integrate their shadow For sure. Open up and speak. Have a healing discussion. Somebody may also be seeing the synchronicity of 888. Abundance is coming. Benefits and rewards. We like it. Get right or get dragged. Learn the lesson. That, incidentally, is my Mercury retrograde card. Get right or get dragged. You are ascending. Growth is beautiful. May also be seeing synchronicities of 222, independence and diplomacy. You remain balanced. You may also see the synchronicity of 666, balance, peace in your life, especially with your loved ones. Are you sure you're sending the universe mixed signals? Clearly decide. There's more to the story. Wait for clarity. And if you have a question, the answer is yes. All right. And finally, we have Firebird. Seek and you shall find. All right. Like a gentle flickering flame, yin fire associated with the heart and the emotion joy brings light into darkness. Just as we need only one candle to light up others, we need only one spark of joy to melt the heart and stoke the fires within. The bird is a yin metal sign associated with the planet Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, the height of autumn and all things that glitter. As a peach blossom star, the bird brings romantic and social opportunities. Those with a bird in their natal chart usually have an appreciation for luxury and the finer things in life. Yin fire in the heavenly frequency emphasizes living from the heart. What the heart needs is simple moments of joy, but our desires often complicate our life. Open your heart to new opportunities, explore your passions, and do what you love. Treat yourself with love and be your own best version so that you can't help but love that version of you. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you so much for supporting my work. Thank you for all the likes, shares, subscribes, tips, donations, the new bookings, the super things, all of that. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting me, and continue to support each other in these comments. All right. I love you guys. Till next time. Take care.